round.
Here we go.
Bryan Danielson.
Fantastic. Like I was thinking of a word to describe him, just other than GOAT, because he's another one that's like just wrestling. He knows, he gets it. Like the wrestling is superior, top tier, and I think that's really shown in AEW. Like he's able to put on those like wrestling clinics that maybe WWE necessarily wasn't letting him. Back to the ROH days.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's funny. Drew and I were talking last night, and I had asked him, who his dream opponent would be, and he actually said Danielson,
Oh,
and he was talking about, the whole compare and contrast, the top tier Drew Adler versus, himself.
yes.
And he said the main thing he does is when he goes out to the ring, he basically just drops his filter that he has to
Yeah.
have for everyday life. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You got to. You got to.
yeah, yep. So, tell me about your very first match.
Okay, when a lot of people talk about their first match, it's all like this incredible thing. Like they think about it all the time. They'll remember it forever. I can't even watch my first match. I wish I didn't remember it. It was terrible, and it wasn't on the other wrestler. I won't say his name. It's on me. Like it went. I didn't know what I was doing. I was inexperienced. It just. Eesh, I hate watching it. I really do. Yeah.
Was the guy that you were working pretty experienced, and could he kind of carry you, or was he kind of still new too?
I believe he was like a year or two in, so he was, a veteran compared to me, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was just inexperience on my part, and it is cool to see how I went from that to what I am now. So it is
Oh
cool to see
yeah.
the improvement. But yeah, looking back at my first match, I wish I could forget it, honestly.
Yeah, I get that. So, okay, well, we've found out about the first match. Now, tell me about your favorite match that you've been a part of. I'm guessing it's probably when you cashed in and got the belt.
100%. That is the least amount of work I had to do in a match, but
Yeah.
I was so nervous. Like I was real. Like I hit a crossbody 1, 2, 3. It sounds very simple, but a million things were running through my head. Like what if I don't cash in successfully? What if I don't get this belt? Then I just dropped the briefcase for no reason. But yeah, that it lasted maybe 2 minutes, but that was the greatest 2 minutes of my wrestling life. 100%.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that had to just be an unbelievable
Oh,
thrill.
it was amazing. And having my dad in the crowd too, somebody who's always supported me through this journey, like
Yeah.
it meant everything to me.
That and knowing that the company had enough faith in you to put the belt on you.
Yeah, so
I
early
mean,
too, because
yeah,
like I'm still early in wrestling, so the fact, yes, they do have the confidence in me meant a lot. Like it really did.
absolutely. Okay, so speed round.
Okay.
Bray Wyatt.
R.I.P. Like I've always been such a big Bray fan. Like I fear a lot of people like they're not huge fans of his promo, like just the way he did his promo. I loved it.
Hmm.
Like as the cult leader, it's not necessarily supposed to make sense, his
Right.
promos. So everybody's like he's rambling, he's not saying anything. That's kind of like what a cult leader would do. He's not always
Right.
going to make sense and everything. So I thought it was brilliant. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
I've always loved Bray.
yeah. I mean, in so many ways, he was ahead of his time,
Yes.
and I mean, I'm really enjoying what they're doing right now with the Wyatt Six.
White City,
If
yes.
if nothing else, it is a great catharsis for Taylor to get to pay tribute to his
Yeah.
brother this way. And they've Drew and I were talking about this last night. They've selected a pretty solid bunch of people to comprise that group. I mean, all of those guys are talented. All of them are good on the mic. They can go in the ring.
Exactly. I feel
So
like all their characters fit in the group as well. Like their individual characters just blend so well with that faction. It came perfect. And I'm glad they're letting Bo do something like this for his brother,
me
on a
too.
main stage. I love to see it.
Yeah, same here. Same here. So, what has, if you can narrow it down to one or two little stories, what has been some of the most interesting or unusual experiences you've had so far in wrestling?
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I'll go interesting. I had the honor of being flown out to Michigan for a show for Combat One Wrestling.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
just the locker room, I saw like Matt Riddle was in the locker room, Chavo
Oh,
Guerrero
wow.
was in the locker room, Alex Shelley. These are all guys I grew up watching like as a kid.
Yeah.
So, and then seeing Matt Riddle, who's just off the WWE run and everything, and I seen him in UFC too. It was crazy seeing them backstage and just getting to talk to them and pick their brain a little bit. As a kid, like deep down, I was losing it. I was afraid to talk to all of them, especially Chavo.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I have heard that Chavo is one of the nicest people.
Yes, he really
Yeah.
is. He really is, and like he doesn't have to be. Like he's Chavo
No.
Guerrero. He can be.
Yeah.
One of the nicest dudes. Same goes for Matt Riddle. Like I loved talking to Matt Riddle. Alex Shelley was a really dope guy. Just a huge experience, especially this early on. I loved it.
Oh yeah, that is really cool.
Yes, I had fun.
That is a neat story. Okay, so speed round.
Okay.
AJ Styles.
Phenomenal. Yeah, of course. Gotta be. Man, AJ has been killing it for years, decades. Like
Yeah.
I first saw AJ in TNA, of course.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw his wrestling style, he could do everything. Like it
Yeah.
was insane. I was automatically a fan. Just like, how could you not be?
Right.
He's doing flips over the top rope. He's doing the Styles Clash. Just everything. Like I love AJ. Still do. He's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, and to be in his mid 40s and still be wrestling at the high level that he's doing it, man.
Insane.
I
And
mean,
the shape he's in now, this is the best
oh
shape
yeah,
he's ever been in. Like it's insane.
I know
I
it.
don't get it. And he's been all across the world and performed at the top. That's
Yep,
impressive to me. That's very impressive.
it is to have the kind of longevity he has had.
In multiple places.
Multiple places, and really I can't remember him really ever having a really serious injury that kept him out for a long period of time anyway.
Not really. That which is crazy seeing all his matches and all the stuff he used to do. Like that's insane that he's never been on the show for that long. That's hard.
Right.
Not a lot of wrestlers can say that.
No, very true. So I mean, this question may not necessarily apply because you haven't been doing this for that long, but what has been the strangest encounter you've had with a fan?
Okay. Like you said, I'm early on. Thank God I don't have a story. I feel like that's a good thing, I'm sure, down the line something's gonna happen. Maybe I'll be back on here to tell you. But yeah, as of right now, thank God I don't have a story.
That's good.
Yeah,
because I mean, if you're this early in and you've already got one of those stories,
I'm in for a long awakening.
So, who would you say are some of your personal influences as a wrestler? Who have you tried to sort of model yourself after?
Maybe not necessarily moveset wise as of right now, but RVD. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. Just growing up watching him and then going back to watch the ECW stuff he did, his moveset was so innovative. Like
Oh
he was
yeah.
doing stuff way before this was all cool. Like that's what made him stand out to me. He was doing, coast to coast, the 5-star frog splash, rolling thunder. I don't know why. It's such a simple move to me, but I've never seen anybody do it before. And it really popped me as a kid. I loved it. So that might be my moveset later on. I might I might have to steal that. Also Shawn Michaels.
Hmm.
Shawn Michaels, just everything about him is perfect in the ring. Facial expression. Obviously his wrestling is top tier. I've always looked up to Shawn Michaels. Super kick. I
Yeah.
want to get a super kit just like him. Everybody does a super kit now, but that's the OG. You can't get better than a Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music.
Yeah. When he would load that boot up.
Yes,
And-
it's over.
Yep.
The one he hit on Ric Flair. I was still a kid. I didn't know too much about Ric Flair, but I cried. Like
Oh yeah.
you can feel the emotion.
The whole I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love you. Oh my god! Like
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
such emotion.
Yeah. And I mean, I grew up, watching Ric Flair in his prime, and
Oh,
yeah, I've actually got an interesting Ric Flair story.
let me
Um,
hear it.
well, I was probably 14 or so,
Mhm.
and Gwinnett Place Mall, which is actually in the county that I live in, had just opened,
Mhm.
and my dad and I were in Gwinnett Place, just walking through the mall,
Yeah.
and Ric Flair in a three-piece suit with a woman on each arm
Of
comes
course.
walking through the mall, wooing the whole 9 yards. He wasn't there for an appearance. I don't know why he was there,
He was
but
just
but
there.
he was just there.
He's Ric
And
Flair.
and I mean he was gimmick 24/7.
Yeah,
I
I heard.
mean,
I heard he lived the character. Like I've heard there's
yeah,
no separation there.
no, Flair lived his gimmick to his own detriment, probably.
Yeah, lived it a little too much, but
Yeah.
he was on top of the world.
Oh, he was. I mean, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and he was
Exactly,
the man.
territory from territory. He was gonna be on
Yep.
top.
Yep. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you could just watch and rewatch and just it never gets old.
TLC 2, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudley's.
Mm-hmm.
All-time favorite match. I loved it. WrestleMania 18, I believe.
Yeah.
Just amazing match. The Dudleys are my favorite tag team of all time. Hardy Boys are right there because how do you not like the Hardy Boys?
Yeah.
Especially growing up my era, like huge Hardy Boys fan. And then Edge and Christian, goats in their
Oh,
own right.
yeah.
Amazing.
And those three teams had such good chemistry together.
Yes,
I mean,
it's insane. And then the TLC match, like they had one before, but
yeah.
they were also in it. So they basically had a clean slate. So we haven't seen TLC matches before. We didn't know what spots they could do and everything they could come up with. And it was just insane. Like how do you come up with all those spots? Like they're insane. But as a fan, it is so entertaining to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you get outside pieces like Lita, Rhino, Spike Dudley running in, just adding to the story. And yeah, I love that match. I will still go back and watch it. I've seen it at least 20 times. Still go back and watch it.
Yep. Okay, speed round.
Okay.
Jake Roberts.
Ooh. DDT. Okay,
Yeah.
It's crazy to me how a DDT was a finisher back then.
Right.
Now
and now it's just a mid-match move.
Yes,
I mean, it's
like
a setup.
Yes, if somebody got pinned off a DDT now, it's like, what was that supposed to happen? Like that's not right. It's
But
crazy how that.
I mean, he made the DDT look like it would just kill you.
Yes, and in theory it can, because you're driving somebody's head into a mat.
Yeah.
That's gonna mess them up. That's a concussion or something. It 100% can be a finisher move. But when people kick out of it and kick out of it and it becomes a trend, it loses all
Right.
its mojo. It's not a finisher no more.
Right.
So
Right.
that's
And yeah,
that.
yeah. You know, the thing I always liked about Jake's promos is
Oh
he never raised his voice.
no, he didn't
He
have
was
to.
very quiet,
Hmm.
but I mean, he could just project menace.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what made it powerful. The fact he didn't
Yeah,
have to raise his voice. Like, you were already intimidated just by his tone he was speaking in.
yeah,
Like, I feel like that's what really makes the magic of his promo.
yeah, yeah. But so let's see here. So, do you have a dream opponent, either present day or past?
Oof. I have a lot.
Who would well, if you can name one or two, who would you love to work?
It's a tough question, but I'm gonna go Eddie Guerrero. You know, Eddie seemed like so much fun to work with. Like, top tier wrestling, but on top, his character work was amazing. Like, how can you cheat, lie, do all this, and still be a babyface? That's how likable Eddie Guerrero was. I feel like that is very hard to do. Like,
Hmm.
it it's hard to cheat and still be liked. So just his character work alone, like, in the knowledge I would learn just from that match alone would be insane. That's one of the reasons I would pick Eddie Guerrero.
I'm looking over at the chat room on Instagram.
Mm.
My son actually commented that this makes him want to watch more wrestling.
You should 100%. The more the better.
Absolutely. So let's see here. Okay, well, you mentioned that you had encountered Matt Riddle and Chavo.
Yep.
Have you had a chance to meet any of your other heroes?
Okay, so I got to meet Sabu. Sabu is really up there for me. Like I
Oh
said, going
wow,
back to watch ECW, just
yeah,
the chair jump that he did, chair jump to the rope to the outside of the crowd, blew my mind as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy. Like, so I got to meet Sabu. Sadly, have never met RVD. Like, he is still top of the list. Um, I have met a lot of cool people though, like Heath Slater. He comes to down to APW where I wrestle at. He's our
hmm.
world champion right now, actually. So I've got to meet him a couple times, and
I've
yeah,
heard he's a good. I've heard he's a good dude.
my God, he is so nice. Like, I was standing next to him one time and we were just having full on conversation. Like, he didn't know who I was, but
Yeah.
we just had a full on conversation. Yeah, really cool guy, really.
So this is a question that when I sent you the list of questions, you enjoyed this one, and that is what hurts right now.
As a wrestler, everything. Of course.
Yeah.
Early on, I still feel good. My body feels great. I do miss a lot of swantons though, so my back is, not in the best shape, but yeah, my back, if anything.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, I want to talk to you about that guy wrestling.
Okay.
So, how did you get into doing podcasting?
Uh, well, see, like, I wasn't even big on like social media or anything. I started posting on TikTok, and that started blowing up a little bit to the point where Bleacher Report on Instagram,
Hmm.
they posted one of my TikToks,
Oh,
and
wow.
I just made an Instagram page. It had maybe like 20 followers on it, and then they tagged me in that, and I shot up to like 500 followers after that. So I'm like, okay, I need to capitalize on this. Started posting on there, and eventually the Instagram blew up. So I I started focusing on other places, posting on YouTube and stuff like that. And everybody's got a podcast now.
Right.
Literally everybody has a podcast now, and it's a good thing because it spreads wrestling more. More people
Hmm.
talking about it, more people can see it. It just overall it's good for wrestling.
Oh, it is.
So I thought, why not? Might as
Yeah.
well get into it. So that's how that started.
So how long has that been going on?
I'm really new into it. I'm still learning a lot. Like there's a lot of things I'm still growing upon. Uh, it's mainly on YouTube, but I'm still trying to actually do like a full on podcast, kind of like
Hmm.
this. You know, uh, so yeah, it's mainly on YouTube, like reactions and things like that, and,
Gotcha.
and then fully focusing on podcasting. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, hopefully maybe down the road we can collaborate and
Oh, I'd love that.
do some stuff together. That would be a blast, man.
Yep. You got to teach me
So,
how to do all this, man. I'm still new to it.
well, I mean, I'm still pretty new to it too. So, like I was telling you before we went live, I learn something new almost every time I do one of these. So,
That's a good
it's
thing, though. But I love the setup and everything. So like, yeah, you got to teach me a thing or two.
oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that, man.
Oh yeah,
So, what are your thoughts in general on the state of the industry right now?
like pro wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
I Business is booming. That's basically what I can say about it. Like I feel like wrestling right now is as hot as it was Attitude Era.
Hmm.
But like Roman Reigns, like his whole title run, it started gaining mainstream attention. Like that's when you really know wrestling is back on its peak.
Yeah,
And especially like Logan Paul coming in. I know
yeah,
Logan is hated. Not a lot of people like him, but the mainstream attention that he gets is huge for WWE and wrestling in a whole.
yeah.
So wrestling is on the come up right now. Hopefully, it never comes down. I feel like WWE going to Netflix will also benefit a
That's going
lot.
to be huge.
Yes, yes, because a lot of people are on Netflix. Like I feel like not a lot of people watch live TV anymore. So the
Right,
fact that they're moving to the streaming, I feel like they can pick up a lot of new people, a lot of new fans can, or older fans that just stopped wrestling, like watching wrestling.
right,
They could come
right.
back. So yeah,
And
it's
the good thing about Netflix also is they can, you know, without going to complete extremes, they can be a little edgier and get away with it. Whereas on network television, you really can't do some of the stuff that you could probably do on Netflix.
you're very limited on cable TV.
Yeah,
Netflix, yeah, you like cussing. I feel like is going to increase a little bit more. Blood, I feel like could increase more. But the tricky part is you can't go too extreme because SmackDown is still on cable.
right,
So
right,
if you're doing all this crazy stuff on Raw, why would I tune into SmackDown when it's just going to be
right,
PG again? So
right.
I feel like they got to find a good balance in between the two.
I agree. I agree. I don't want to see things go back to the Monday Night Wars and the Attitude Era and all that, because there was some great stuff, but there was also some unnecessary stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I don't want to see them go back to a lot of the sexual stuff that was
yeah,
going on. I mean,
yeah.
that's just not my cup of tea personally. But
Well, and also in today's society, you can't like you
right,
literally you would
with
get canceled.
cancel culture and
Yes, yes, you
yeah,
would get canceled so fast. There is a fine line on the sexual, you can do on pro wrestling.
right,
Especially on a big network like WWE. So it'd be interesting to see how they divide Raw and SmackDown. How crazy Raw is going to get, opposed to a SmackDown that's still on cable.
right.
I'm interested to see how they do that.
I am too. But yeah, man. Like I was saying before we went live, man, it is a fun time to be a fan.
Oh,
There's just so much cool stuff happening, and
there's so much wrestling.
it's almost hard to find time each week to watch it all. I
Yeah.
mean, there's just
I try, like, I feel like there's wrestling every day of the week, and then you got your independent shows on the weekend. So there's so much wrestling right now. It's insane. If anybody is looking to get into pro wrestling that's not watching right now, now is the time, because there is something for everybody. You got your WWE, who's also become a more mainstream, more cool, getting that edge again. You also
yeah,
have AEW if you're just into, good pro wrestling, maybe not storyline based, just good pro wrestling. You got the indies, you got GCW, who's more like they can be like an ECW esque, so you got
yeah,
that. You really have everything going on right now.
yeah.
It's
And then you've got New Japan and
Yeah,
MLW, you know.
there's so much, like I'm not gonna say too much wrestling, because there can never be too much wrestling, but
Right,
it's insane how much there is right now.
right. Speed round.
Okay.
Triple H.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I know it's not one word, but yeah, another person I really grew up watching and always looked up to. Like, I feel like everybody, and if they haven't, they're lying, hasn't tried the Triple H water spit. Everybody had to try it. Everybody. I've tried it a couple times. I still can't get it. It's
Yeah.
just little stuff like that he gets over. And, like, DX, his singles run, they had another DX run. I grew up with the newer DX, which I know everybody hates on. It's not the old DX, I know. But, like, even that I loved. And then going back to watch my favorite Triple H match, Royal Rumble, I think 2000. He fought Cactus Jack. No holds barred.
Yep.
Oh my God. They did a pedigree on the thumbtacks. I believe he was still handcuffed. Cactus Jack was. So he took full face into thumbtacks, and I will never forget that.
Yeah.
Just an insane match. But yeah,
Yeah.
Triple H, he's up there for me.
Absolutely agree. And it's really been cool over the years seeing him, I guess, mature into the role that he now has.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, because Drew and I were talking about this last night. Back in the day when he was in ring active, he kind of had a reputation for being a politician backstage
yeah.
and burying people and that kind of thing. And I think there's probably some nuggets of truth there,
Yeah,
but I mean, but it's probably been, as a lot of things do in wrestling, it's probably been overblown.
yeah, oh,
But
yeah.
but I mean, for him to basically, come from that reputation and over time redeem himself to the point that he's the point man in the industry
He's running
is
it now.
really cool.
Yeah,
And the fact that he's got his best friend, running NXT,
NXT,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's just so cool.
Who would have thought the two degenerates, back in
Yeah,
the Attitude Era, who was causing chaos, is now running
yeah,
everything? Like,
I
it's
know.
insane. But they're both killing it. Like, NXT is as hot as it's been since Black and Gold, I would say, and that's
Yeah.
saying a lot.
Oh
And
yeah.
WWE is on, an apex right now. They are selling out everywhere. I don't care where they go, they're selling out.
Right.
No, it's
And I love the fact that they have basically strapped a rocket to Ethan Page's back,
yes,
because
immediate.
I thought he was, he had so much potential in AEW, but they never
Yeah,
did anything with him.
no,
And
he always seemed like a better fit for WWE to me, because, like,
yeah,
he focuses a lot on his character, and his promo is amazing. I love his promos. I feel like he was always tailored to be in WWE opposed to
yeah,
AEW.
yeah.
And you see right away he's been there for what, like, has he been there a month yet?
He's been there about a month and a half, and he's already NXT champion. I
Damn,
mean,
yeah, like, he's done more now by far than he did in AEW, and he was there for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
He was there for a
And
while.
and man, Joe Hendry is on fire.
Oh my god. He got his song trending like on actual
Yeah.
charts. Like that is insane.
Yeah.
I was a lot of those views. I'm not gonna lie. His theme song is so catchy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and what a talented guy. You know,
Yes.
to be able to combine his musicianship with his wrestling is just
Yeah.
so darn cool. I
Yes.
mean,
For everybody just finding out about Joe Hendry, I recommend you go on YouTube and look at his older like entrance music where he just makes fun of his opponents.
oh yeah.
It's so hilarious. I love it. He did one on Sabu that will never get out of my head. Like it is stuck there forever. So I highly recommend anybody new to Joe Hendry go check that out. Like
Well,
100%.
what I love are those entrances where he's mocking his opponent, and you're watching the opponent trying not to break character and laugh.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
I mean,
yes. He did one on Scotty Too Hottie, and Scotty like smiling the whole time. He couldn't help it. I'd be
yeah,
the
I
same
mean,
way. I would be dying.
so Asher, you're a pretty young guy still.
Mhm.
But if you know, knowing what you know at this point, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Trust the process because there's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs. I started at a different wrestling school. I started at Palmetto Palmetto Wrestling with Ethan Case.
Yeah, shout out to Ethan.
Yes, PWA. I loved my time at PWA. I was there for a couple months. I even came back and started training for a couple months again. Uh, Things kept coming up. I couldn't continue, and I thought my wrestling career was over, like before it even began. Honestly, until I found this place in Bowling Springs in APW. They trained me up. You know, got me to where I am now. But I thought about quitting. I thought about not pursuing another wrestling school. So just trust the process because it's not always going to be up. It's going to be a lot of downs, but you got to ride it through, and you'll finally come back up again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, do you have any advice for any other young people that are thinking about trying to break into the business?
Listen, the number one thing you can do in wrestling, I've learned, is listen. Like, you have a veteran in the locker room, listen. You got somebody trying to help you with your match, listen to them. You might have your own ideas and your own perspective on how to do things, but the veterans have done this. They know what gets over. They know everything that you don't. So why would you question them? Just listen. You can learn so much. Don't talk. Like you can sit there quiet. Just listen. Like I've seen it myself. Like younger wrestlers, like, same amount of time as me, have their own ideas and go over a veteran. Like just they'd rather have their ideas in the match than what somebody else wanted. And it's just like, why? They've done this. They know what they're doing. They're trying to help you out. Just listen to them. Simple
Why?
advice, but you'd be surprised how many people don't.
Wise words from a young guy.
thank,
That is really cool.
thank you.
Um, so, in your move set, do you have a favorite move that you just really enjoy doing, and do you have a move that you won't do? Like, I mean, I know a lot of places have, for instance, banned the vertebraker
Yes,
because too many people were getting hurt. But I mean, so do you have a favorite, and do you have one that you just won't do?
yes. And my move set, my finisher is a springboard code breaker, but
Oh, nice.
it's not springboarding like Cody Rhodes does his cutter. It's like
Hmm.
I bring them with me. I put one leg on it like a disaster kick
Hmm.
myself off, turn, and then code breaker. So like, it's pretty cool. I feel like not a lot of people do it. A move I wouldn't do. I feel like you read my mind because Vertebreaker was up there. Like doing it, I'd be too nervous to actually try it, and then somebody doing it to me, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
The thing about the vertebraker that I've always found scary is, you can't really see how your partner's positioned. You've just got to hope they're in there right and,
Yeah,
and just do it.
you,
And
yeah, you hope their head's tucked, and you got
yeah,
to go. Like it's a very scary move. It'd take a lot of convincing for me to do it.
yeah.
100%. But yeah, that's a very scary move. But it looks really cool. Like if it's
Oh, it does.
done, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's just scary. It's just scary.
Yeah. I mean, because, yeah, I remember hearing about a couple people getting paralyzed as a result. And it's
Because
just,
if you don't have your head in the right way, you're going straight down. Like
yeah,
that's a legit move that could kill you. Like what
yeah,
people say wrestling's fake all the time. You don't hit that move right, you can't call that fake. That's a hospital. That's paralyzed. Like that's some serious stuff.
right, right. But yeah, you just brought up the F word, uh, that's the thing. Predetermined, absolutely.
Yes,
You,
a
you
hundred
know,
percent.
and working within parameters to keep things as safe as possible, absolutely.
Yes.
But fake, no. I mean,
No.
it's not everybody can walk out there and do that.
No.
I mean, I know I couldn't. I mean,
This stuff hurts. It's
yeah,
not a trampoline. It is literally wood and a canvas over it. It hurts. My first bump, I didn't think I could do this. I didn't like. I hit, all the breath came out of me. I Worse than any football hit I've ever taken. It sucks. Over time, your body is used to it, but it always hurts. Like this is not fake. Nothing about this is fake. And when people say fake, I look at wrestling as like a movie. The movie isn't real. It's
right.
actors and everything, but you buy into it. You watch it. You get into
Hmm.
the story. It's the same thing. The script's already written.
Yeah,
What's the difference? One's just live
exactly.
action. Same thing.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, um, something that I've done in all of my live streams, I've got a sister show that focuses on music, but
Okay.
one of the things that I always do is I let my current guest pose a question for the next guest. And so Drew Adler, who was on last night, posed a question for you,
Okay.
and so he basically said, what is your why? Meaning, what keeps you going in the business? Why do you keep doing wrestling? Well, what drives you?
It's just the passion for wrestling. If you watch as a fan, young fan, and then just growing up watching wrestling and now being able to actually do it. I remember the first time I stepped in the ring. I'll never forget that. Like my first day of training, I'll never forget that. So just being able to get in the ring and come down that ramp and have fans wear my shirt, you don't know how much that means to me. Like I see people in the crowd with my shirt on. They'll have my trading card they got from my table. Like that means the world to me. And the fact that I can reach other people now, like I'm spreading my name out there, and more people can see me, more people can wear my shirts and everything. It means the world to me. Like it's a dream come true. That's my why.
That is awesome. The I just can't imagine what a rush it is like to be like a Seth Rollins, and you come out and the crowd is singing your your theme,
Yeah,
and the whole arena's echoing.
and, and
I mean
that's
that's got to just be just insanely wild. I
yes, and
mean,
you got to think that is every city you go to as well. Like every
yeah,
arena, they're singing your song.
yeah,
I Hopefully I get there one day, but yeah, the rush of that has got to be insane. It's a superpower, I told
absolutely.
you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So, do you have a question? My next wrestling guest is going to be next Tuesday,
Mhm.
or is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. I've got a wrestler named Book Hemingway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to be coming on. So do you have a question you would like to pose to him?
Okay, yeah. If you could hold any belt in any era, what would it be? NWA, old school, new school, any belt, any era, what belt would it be?
That's a really cool question. What would your answer be?
I've always been a fan of the white strap intercontinental title. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I thought the oval intercont I loved it. But when I saw that white strap intercontinental title, oh my god, I loved it. That'd be my pick.
Awesome. So we're getting toward the end of this now, Asher. Do you have any upcoming shows or anything you would like to hype?
I'm at Asylum Pro Wrestling, Bowling Springs, South Carolina, basically every Friday. Defending my belt. I'm a fighting champion. Every week. Uh, no upcoming events. I do have a show coming up in North Carolina, NAWA Wrestling War Games. I'm not in War Games. I got a match against Luke Fury. We're gonna tear the house down, but later on, main event, War Games. It's gonna be a dope show. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. So who are you defending against tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I actually have a triple threat. Nate Burnham, Logan Quindell, and of course myself. So big match, triple threat. This is my second triple threat. Second defense, second triple threat.
Nice.
Yeah, odds
Best of luck. I was gonna say the odds are stacked against you, but
yes, sir.
best of luck.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna need it.
Are any of those shows available on the web?
We're trying to get on YouTube. We just got a YouTube going, so we're trying to post. We do have a cameraman, a different YouTube account, Slayer Arc on YouTube, I believe. He posts all individual matches. So
Oh, nice.
a bunch of my matches are on there.
Well, very cool. Well, for everybody that's been watching this live, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For everybody that's going to be watching this on replays, thank you for that as well. If you like what we're doing here, continue to spread the word. This whole thing is really starting to take on a life of its own, and I'm absolutely having a blast doing it. And thank you for your time, Asher. This has been an absolute blast. I love just sitting down and just talking about this stuff and just nerding out about wrestling with.
Look, it's so much fun. Like, this is the stuff I talk about just on my daily life, with friends and everything. So the fact that I get to come on a podcast and do it, like, I love this stuff, man. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, have a great rest of your night, and I will. I'll be in touch in the next day or so as I get the edits done and get the audio edited together into the podcast. I'll be sending you links